Welcome back, everyone, to a very important episode of the Nic Cage Fight podcast, where we are here today to talk about the very serious news that for the first time in the history of this country, a former president has been indicted. Psych! Get fucked, politics nerds. We're going to be talking about another bonkers Nic Cage movie. I'm one of your hosts, Josh, joined as always by Rich and Ryan. How are we?
I guess this is also technically episode 1 of Willem Dafriend or Dafoe.
That is a fair assumption. I am ready for this very special episode of Cage Fight.
We are here to talk about Dog Eat Dog, a 2016 not rated film with a runtime of an hour and 33 minutes, keeping
Wait,
it
this
nice
film
and
wasn't
tight.
rated?
As far as I can tell.
That.
Let me do a little digging. I don't think it's rated, but let me see if there was anything.
Was it like one of his directed? Because I don't know. To me, it was like a little bit too good to be a directed DVD, but also the directed DVD films so far have been the best ones.
I mean, they've had some real like hidden gems for sure. But yeah, no, it did not receive a rating certificate, and I'm not entirely sure why.
Limited theatrical release seems to be the reasoning.
Huh.
It was at like Cannes, Fantastic Fest, Beyond Fest, and then it's showing as a limited widespread. So like a couple of theaters in New York, a couple theaters in LA, that kind of thing. And I don't think you necessarily need a rating certificate if you're not a widespread release.
Yeah. I mean, makes sense to me. But yeah, very, very interesting film in general. Real bonkers. I loved some of the shots in it specifically. But why don't we just jump right into housekeeping on it? And
so real quick before we get into the acting list, I noticed something as I was watching it, which is RLJ Entertainment, and I'm like, where have I seen this before? They helped produce Pay the Ghost.
Interesting.
They also did Mandy.
Oh,
more
interesting.
As well as Color Out of Space.
Okay, that is fascinating.
Which I have not seen yet. I told myself that, you know, any Nic Cage movie made after we decided to start this podcast, I'm going to get to eventually. Except for Renfield. Renfield, we're going to, like, watch the week of.
Yeah. Yeah, not sleeping on that one.
I'm just kind of going through to say, oh, they're also doing another new Nic Cage movie, Sympathy for the Devil.
Huh.
I'm trying to see if there's anything else here that was Nic Cage that I missed, and I don't think so.
Well, that's interesting because I missed that entirely. Obviously, that's not on my list of things that I usually cover for housekeeping.
Wait, didn't we talk about Bone Tomahawk like last week or 2 weeks ago?
We did. I just saw that they had something to do with that.
Yeah, they did Bone Tomahawk.
Okay, so this
group has more distributor, not a production company.
Right, and it looks like I misspoke. They are a distribution company, not a producing company.
Okay. That's still interesting, I think.
They also distributed Puppet Master, The Littlest Reich. The movie is not good.
Yeah, I remember that one. Wait, didn't that have an interesting director or some shit like that?
That was directed by Sonny Laguna and Tommy Wickland. I don't recognize either of those names.
Fuck, there was somebody who worked on that production where I was like, why did they work on this? And I can't remember.
Was it fucking Tom Lennon?
It might have been.
He's in it. He's in the movie. And Udo Kier? I don't remember that at all.
Okay, so to jump in, first up we have the director, which is Paul Schrader, who is pretty well known for films such as Taxi Driver, Affliction, First Reformed, and more recently The Card Counter.
And you can see why when watching this movie that he directed it.
Yep, 100%.
I'll shout out my favorite of his, Mishima: A Life in Four Chapters, which is it's a biopic about Yukio Mishima, who is a gay playwright in Japan who tried to do a whole ass coup and ended up doing ritual suicide.
And
weird movie, weird dude's life. He was a fascist.
I'll shout out Raging Bull. Everybody here has heard of Raging Bull. It is a really good movie. He wrote
Absolutely.
it.
My favorite, well, my current favorite of the ones that we've talked about so far is First Reformed, which is another berserk movie, just sort of in general.
Oh, I got to mention Cat People too. I love Cat People. It's got some good Michael McDowell in it.
And of course, we will be seeing him again when we eventually get to Bringing Out the Dead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Ryan's chomping at the bit for that one.
I am, in fact, champing at the bit for that. I love that movie.
So moving on to writers, I thought this was pretty interesting. The screenplay was adapted from a novel written by Edward Bunker, who is an actor in his own right. People might remember him as playing Mr. Blue in Reservoir Dogs, but he's also in Animal Factory, Runaway Train, and Straight Time.
Was he also in jail?
Huh?
Oh yeah, he had a life as a criminal too.
Yeah, he died a couple years back, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he's the youngest person to ever do time at San Quentin.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, he was 17.
So I am seeing that there are two other Schrader films with Cage in it that we're going to have to talk about as well.
Oh, what other ones? I just kind of did a quick skim.
2017's Dark and 2014's Dying of the Light.
Those don't ring any bells, so that's why I didn't catch them.
They both star Cage.
Very interesting. Well, we'll get
ready
to
for it.
One of them's got Anton Yelchin in it.
Oh, I love Anton Yelchin.
Yeah, so that should be interesting.
Check that shit out.
Yeah.
So the screenplay was done by Matthew Wilder, who has also written such films as Your Name Here, American Martyr, Seneca on the Creation of Earthquakes. That was about it, and I recognize none of those.
Yeah, I was about to say I don't know any of those movies. Ryan, can you be our saving grace?
Nope.
Oh man, that's
I don't
how
recognize any of that.
That's
super
how
obscure.
It's dog shit.
And so from there, we're going to move on to the cast list, which is going to be relatively short here. I didn't know who to pull for this, so it's going to be short and sweet. First up, as always, we have Nic Cage as Troy. But from there, we go directly into Willem Dafoe as Mad Dog, who's known for his work in the Spider-Man films, The Florida Project, which was a movie I actually liked a lot.
I loved The Florida Project. It was so depressing.
I still haven't gotten around to that. I guess I'll have to watch that if it gets both of your glowing recommendations.
Yeah, it was super depressing, but it also does have a cameo from the one of my favorite not widely recognized actors whose name I forget right now, but he's the dude who starred in Blue Ruin. He was in Green Room.
Oh yeah, I know you're talking about.
Murder Party. Yeah, he's a character for a very brief scene in the Florida Project. Willem Dafoe is also in The Lighthouse, and shout out to Shadow of the Vampire, which we covered in a Patreon episode.
I'll shout out one I like with him. He was in Fantastic Mr. Fox, and he's weird in it.
He's weird in a lot of things.
All right, I'll shout out one more. Streets of Fire. He is wearing leather fucking suspenders for like half of that movie and not much else.
Next up, we have Christopher Matthew Cook as Diesel. Christopher Matthew Cook has a lot of like TV and sort of general tough guy or goon roles, but he's been in The Walking Dead, Under the Dome, but also movies such as Black Adam, The Drone, and Hacked. Very recognizable face, you know what I mean? Like, I was actually a little bit shocked when I saw that he didn't have any real like leading roles, because I was like, I recognize this dude. He just stands out in the background, I guess.
Yeah, he's just one of them. And I will shout out he's in Young Rock, which is my favorite show to like hate and yell at.
I'm not familiar with that at all. What's it about?
It's about
about Dwayne the Rock Johnson as a kid, and like but not just as a kid, like coming up as a pro wrestler as well, but like in the mid-90s. And the people that they cast as the pro wrestlers, it looks like a porn knockoff.
It does. I have seen a couple of like side by sides, and I was like, this does not look great.
Yeah, like the person playing the Undertaker is like 5'9".
Oh no.
The famously 6'10" Undertaker. The guy is like 5'9" and just looking people right in the eye or looking up to them. But like everybody's short. Everybody looks like a knockoff. You can tell when someone's wearing a bald cap. I hate it so much, but I can't stop watching it.
I might have to look up a highlight reel of it. Next up, we have Omar J. Dorsey as Moon Man. Omar was also in the new run of Halloween movies. I believe he played a sheriff, but he was also in Django Unchained, The Blind Side, Race to Witch Mountain, TV shows such as The Shield, Entourage, Eastbound and Down, and Ray Donovan.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Been in a lot of shit.
I've never met anyone who has ever seen an episode of Ray Donovan.
I have.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Several seasons of Ray Donovan.
How? Where is it even?
I think I watched the first 5 episodes thinking that like it was going to be good, and then it kind of never got out of first gear for me.
Gotcha.
Liev Schreiber. I like watching him.
I mean, that's fair.
Not a terrible show in general. It's I'm not gonna dig myself any deeper into this hole, but I've seen it.
No. I'm not like judging you. It's not like it's not like you came out here being like, I've seen every episode of Entourage, which I have because I'm trash.
I have not. That's actually a show I never watched.
It's bad. It's so bad. I watched it when I was like 23, and
That's
I feel like
the
it's
time to watch it.
Yeah, I feel like it's a big like I'm 23 kind of show.
I do also want to do a quick call out. Eastbound and Down is fucking hilarious. If you haven't seen it,
absolutely.
The first 4 minutes sets the stage. The first 4 minutes of episode 1 sets the stage perfectly.
I was actually just talking about Eastbound and Down because I was watching. Have you ever seen Review with Forrest McNeil?
I have not.
I have not either.
Okay, that one gets an emphatic recommendation from me. It's Andy Daly, who plays the vice principal in Eastbound and Down, who Kenny Powers steals the wife of. The central conceit of the show is it's a review show, but he doesn't review books, movies, or food. He reviews life experiences.
Oh, I've heard of this.
I have seen this. Okay.
It is criminally underseen. There's an episode where he reviews eating 15 pancakes and it gives it 1 star, but by the end of the episode he's so emotionally destroyed that he reviews eating 30 pancakes and gives it 5 stars.
Next up we have Louisa Krause as Zoe, and she's been in a lot of TV, including Ray Donovan, The Equalizer, Detroiters, and Billions. Now, I was a little lost as to who to include in housekeeping because I believe this is the actress in the scene with Diesel in the hotel room, which we'll get to when we cover the plot.
Yeah, or as I call her, the most competent sex worker.
She's not. We'll get to that too.
She's
of
safe.
The 3 of them. She is the one where I was like, you know what? I'd hang out with her for a half hour.
I'm not contesting the competent descriptor. I'm contesting the sex worker one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she might not have been.
Yeah, I think that was the primary problem in that scene.
I thought, you know what? We'll get to it when we get to it. It's fine.
Yeah. We can run that down in the plot. Next up, we have Melissa Bologna as Lena. She was in The Hurricane Heist, Acts of Violence, and The Year of Spectacular Men. And then second to last, because we have a special call out, Ronaldo Gallegos as Chepe, who is in American Sniper. I recognized him most from Sons of Anarchy, and I had to throw in there he was also in a film called Hansel and Gretel Get Baked, which is apparently some type of weed comedy horror movie. I'm not entirely sure. There's a big pot leaf on the poster, but I've never seen it.
I think I've seen that poster just trolling through Amazon Prime's lowest rated horror films, but I've not watched it.
Oh, if it's on Amazon Prime, I gotta get my money's worth.
Yeah.
He was in a movie called Glassjaw too, which I'm not going to look into. I am just going to assume that it is shaky handheld footage from a Glassjaw concert.
Hey, I'd watch that.
I would watch the shit out of that.
So last up, we have to shout out Paul Schrader himself, who apparently had approached a multitude of people, including Michael Wincott, Michael Douglas, Quentin Tarantino, Martin Scorsese, Nick Nolte, Christopher Walken, Jeff Goldblum, and Rupert Everett to play the role of Greco the Greek, but it didn't work out with any of them. And in the end, to avoid going over budget, he played the role himself. So there you go. And that's going to wrap up housekeeping. Unless I've made any egregious omissions, speak
Not that
now,
I
forever
saw.
hold your peace.
Nah, I didn't recognize anybody else in this.
There you go. So we can jump right into it now. The first 5 to 10 minutes of this film are completely insane. And
really, really kicks you in the face out of the gate.
it is bonkers in the best way. So it opens on a talk show on TV where there's two men talking about gun control from what is like cartoonishly a pro-gun perspective. And before you can even focus on what insanity is playing out on this TV screen, the camera pans to just an offensively pink floral living room where Mad Dog, Willem Dafoe, rips a line of coke before leaning back, and we see he has an eye tattooed directly underneath his chin. This is a phenomenal scene in general because, like, as he's getting high out of his mind, he's leaned back and like TV screens are popping up over the scene, showing elements of the talk show, different portions of the house that he's currently in, and including a pink landline phone that is ringing. And my favorite part is it's actually like jiggling on the wall with the rings, which I thought was a fantastic touch.
That is a good touch. That means that's an old ass phone. Sometimes they would actually have the physical bell in them that would do the spin thing.
Yeah, exactly.
I like this house screams like everything is a hand me down from her grandmother.
No, it's bizarrely carefully curated. You don't get pink on pink on pink like that on accident. I
thought maybe at first it was representative of Willem Dafoe's state of mind, that might not actually be the literal interior decor of the house. But I think you might be right that is just because of evidence in the character writing of the woman who owns the house.
The very brief look we get at Sheila, I think it's on purpose.
I think it is on purpose as well, yeah.
Yeah, and
but at first blush, I did think it was just he was ripped out of his mind and he like latched onto one of the major colors of the house and everything kind of was painted by that. I think that's not the correct take after seeing the rest of it though.
Yeah, no. So my assumption was that he was squatting there until someone just came home and then he was going to run out.
I thought the same exact thing the first time I saw it. Is he had just broken into some home because he is severely out of place in this location. And also, Ryan, your perspective is entirely defensible. There is a lot of parts of this film where you do not know what is going on and what is real or unreal. It's like an unreliable narrator, but it's what the director is actively showing you on screen.
Right.
That seems unreliable. So pretty interesting. But after this montage of TV screens, Mad Dog jumps up and almost tears the phone off the wall trying to answer it. And this is another bit of evidence towards Ryan's stance that we need to question a little bit what we're being shown, because the person on the other end of the phone indicates that they're essentially taking a survey, but the things that they're saying are off or oddly aware or omniscient of what's going on with this particular character. Also, Mad Dog is hearing what we later learn to probably be an answering machine, an old-time answering machine where it's like actively playing, the person's voice as they're recording. It's some girl talking about cupcakes for a school project. It immediate fever dream vibes from the scene in general. But Mad Dog converses with the man taking the survey and says he cuts fish for a living at a cannery. And the guy's like, "That's fucking weird. I didn't think that was a job anymore." This pisses off Mad Dog, who basically rips the phone off the wall at this point and then goes into the bathroom, and we get a time-lapse sped up shot of Mad Dog doing heroin. And then a woman and her daughter arrive home to the pink house. And specifically in my notes as a nod to Rich, I was like, you'd think that Mad Dog had broken in, but it turns out that the mother actually recognizes Mad Dog, and he is at least for the time being, an actual guest in the house. Not only that, they appear to be an item, and I'm basing this purely on the fact that there is a line, maybe my favorite line in the entire film, where Mad Dog says he is going to eat Sheila's booty.
I mean,
I was not able to
short
pull
ribs.
Yeah, short ribs and booty.
Yeah, I was not able to pull audio, unfortunately. I had a few things kind of go wrong, which the first thing is my soundboard is not getting picked up by Zoom, which I am fixing for the next episode.
I think you need to do like a screen share or something. We'll troubleshoot that later.
Yeah, I'm not terribly worried about it yet.
Still a great line, and the delivery is absurd. So Sheila is kicking Mad Dog out after he crashes for one more night, and then we get a cut to Dafoe making weird trippy faces in a mirror, which is shot in all like deep blue tones and ripple effects. It's so bizarre. But this this particular scene is interrupted by Sheila yelling for Mad Dog to get into the fucking room that she's at, because she is at her computer that Mad Dog has apparently been using, and she is upset because, as she says, she only uses her computer to check her emails, do the church schedule, and something else. I can't remember what the other thing is.
I forget what the third thing is.
But what is up on the screen is asianteensquirters.com, and Sheila is unhappy about this.
Pardon me, I'm going to see if that's a real website real quick.
That is the exact URL that was on the screen, because I was like, I have to put that in my notes. We pride ourselves on accuracy on this show.
Please put your VPN up.
Site cannot be reached.
There you go. Well, probably.
Well, the movie is from 2016, so
but Mad Dog's like, you can't kick me out. I have a suitcase full of guns. Where am I gonna go? And so Sheila is slapping him and trying to force him out of the house, and Mad Dog pulls a knife from an ankle sheath and just cuts her throat and stabs her a bunch of times. The daughter comes down and sees the aftermath of this and loses it, runs to lock herself in her bedroom. Mad Dog retrieves a gun from the aforementioned suitcase and breaks into the girl's room before putting a pillow over her head and shooting her, and then sits down on the bed and does a bump of coke off the back of his hand. Then we get the title card. This is the most intense movie opening I think we've ever covered on this podcast.
It's art, baby.
There you go.
Was not expecting the daughter death. I mean, now, like, after watching the whole movie, it's like, okay, no, it makes total sense within his character.
It makes sense for a Schrader film. That man likes to go dark.
Yeah, at the time, though, I was not expecting it.
Yeah, I honestly wasn't either, but they dove right in on this one.
Yeah, this is one of those movies where it tells you exactly what it is in the first 10 minutes.
Yeah, if you make it through the first 10 minutes, you have no excuses. I think you know what you're in store for.
Yeah, what you're
I don't know if you know what you're in store for
man,
the ending.
Damn.
Yeah, no, that is true.
Try to do an ad transition.
I stepped on your toes. Sorry about that.
No, you're fine. I step on everybody's toes fucking constantly. It's fine. I don't know what I was saying, but here's some ads. All right, now I'm just going to kind of fill some time so that you, the listener, can stop hitting the fast forward button in time for me to say patreon.com/Nic Cage Fight, where you can get every single episode without these pesky ads. You can also get other episodes where we have reviewed Nic Cage adjacent movies, and we will be reviewing The Wrestler, which we'll talk about more at the end of this episode, about watching The Wrestler.
Coming soon,
The Wrestler.
So from here we cut to a black and white scene, and the setting is a strip club, and sitting at the bar is the man himself, Nic Cage, playing Troy. He is narrating by a voiceover during this scene introduces himself, Mad Dog, and Diesel. We cut to a scene of Troy in prison, getting assaulted in the showers by some white supremacist gang members, and Mad Dog just slices up some of the attackers on Troy's behalf, which is sort of an explanation as to why he sticks up for Mad Dog when most people do not like him. Diesel, Troy describes as being pretty smart despite looking like a lug nut, but Diesel is also an ex-con. Despite his smarts, he has not gotten away with anything really major, and definitely landed himself in prison. So then we get Troy's story, and he claims that a cop planted cocaine on him, just an ounce, but bagged for individual sale. And we get a scene of him at the courthouse as he's getting sentenced or something like that. And he runs off, like grabs a bailiff's gun, is running down the steps inside the courthouse before getting shot in the leg, preventing him from escaping. We also learned that Troy was the last of their merry band to get out of prison. So this black and white strip club scene is Mad Dog and Diesel throwing him a welcome home party. We get a little bit of discussion back and forth between the crew members. Mad Dog has a funny line about Taylor Swift, saying he has no idea who the fuck Taylor Swift is.
There's a lot of Taylor Swift in this movie.
There's
a lot of Taylor Swift like in the background, to a point where I was almost like, did like the record company throw them like 25 grand to be like, mention Taylor Swift?
No,
like
I got a theory
times
on this. I think Paul Schrader has like a granddaughter who mentioned her. He was like, I don't know who the fuck that is. I'm going to use that.
Yeah, well, there's a scene later on in the movie, and I'm just mentioning it now because it does not matter. They're outside of a strip club, and there's a sign that says Taylor Swift lookalike contest.
Oh, that's bleak.
I missed that one. I caught the one where Troy is reading a magazine later in the film, and Taylor Swift is on the cover of it.
Yeah, there is that.
There's more references to Taylor Swift than Humphrey Bogart?
Yes.
This movie's baffling. I love it.
They could have gone in a much weirder direction for the ending scene.
They absolutely could have.
Another great line while they're talking is Diesel confuses Egypt and Iraq, which is kind of absurd since he's talking about the Iraq War.
Yeah, but all like at the same point, aren't they also talking about like what the fuck is Facebook? Like all the things they missed. And it's like, if you're in prison, I can understand like you don't give a shit about the Iraq War. You're trying not to get stabbed on a daily basis.
Yeah, but you got other priorities.
Yeah.
I do want to mention this is actually not the only movie where Nic Cage is named Troy. Once we get to one of the Holy Trinity face-off, he plays Castor Troy.
He does indeed. We do get a quick cutaway scene that's in full color, so we get to see what the suit Troy is wearing looks like, and it is sky blue. It's a lovely suit. It's a real flashy sort of whatchamacallit, Better Call Saul kind of suit.
Yeah, it's very loud. Love it.
Yeah. So Troy brings a stripper upstairs to the champagne room. The stripper correctly pegs Nic Cage as pretty fucking hot, you know? I mention it specifically in the notes, because it's funny and we're always going to point out when people are right that Nic Cage is attractive, but this is a bit that's repeated at least once more in the film. So that's kind of funny. So when he gets up there, she's like, all right, it's going to cost this much. And he's like, oh, the boys downstairs took care of it. And she's like, they absolutely did not, which is also a bit hilarious. So the narration also indicates that Troy, at least from his perspective, considers it his job to take care of the crew. So now that he's back on the outside, he's looking for a new illegal job, and he's going to see the Greek. So from here, we actually cut right over to Troy's meeting with the Greek, and the Greek is telling him about a Armenian former DA who's essentially like I was trying to follow it. It sounds like he left public service and started doing defense work to make a bunch of money. But
yeah,
on the
he
side,
said he switched sides essentially.
Yeah, okay.
To make a lot of money.
Yeah. So, but as a side gig on top of all of that, he sets up rip-off jobs for his clients, for the extra cash. So this job is specifically to find where this one drug dealer guy hides his stash and money. And so Troy requests cop uniforms for himself, Diesel and Mad Dog. The Greek specifically is like, keep Mad Dog the fuck away from me. I'm fine with him on the job, but I don't want him anywhere near me, which is fair.
Yeah, absolutely. He didn't even think twice about just slashing that girl's throat. So
That was so out of nowhere. It's kind of crazy. But the next scene we get is, I'm not gonna lie, probably it had me laughing the hardest for a very simple reason. So we cut to Troy and the crew, and they're sitting in a car that is, they're all wearing police uniforms, but the car is the most shittily disguised cop car I've ever seen. The vinyl lettering on it doesn't even line up straight.
It's
There's
like made out of electrical tape or some shit.
Yeah, it's so bad, and it's never explicitly referenced, but the shots showing it multiple times are so good as a visual gag. It had me cracking up.
Well, I think my favorite part is there are like some kids that walk by and they say like, this isn't a cop car. Look at what's inside. And it's like just a whole bunch of like garbage and shit. And you're like, what gave it away? Was it the shot? Was it the bad lettering? Was it the fact that it's like a 1989 Ford Focus? Like,
No, see, that's another fucking hilarious part of the bit, because when the kids say that, they're like looking inside, there's crushed beer cans and like cigarette burns and shit. But just looking at the outside of that car for 2 seconds, I wouldn't have pulled over for that cop car. That's how badly disguised it is.
The only idiosyncratic thing about it is that it has the lights on the top, which would be harder to get, but still, like, it's pretty flawless in the execution of that being a couple of goons just dressing a car up. It's car cosplay.
Yeah, but also, if The Wire has taught me anything, it's that cops drive around just half drunk the entire day. Unless you're Jimmy McNulty, then you're absolutely
100% hammered,
face drunk the entire day.
Fucking love McNulty.
The other very good thing about this scene is, unlike a lot of those, crime cool movies, this is not a sophisticated crew. Like, it's not like a otherwise professional group of criminals with like one loose cannon. This is a bunch of fuck ups from top to bottom.
You know what it reminded me of? In like Looney Tunes, when you have the little guy who's the crime boss and then the big goon. It's just a bunch of those dudes.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a bunch of big dudes. Yeah, like Nic Cage in this movie is supposed to be the brains, and he's not really the brains.
No.
No,
none of them are very smart, which makes it so much better.
Yeah, and it's done like in a way that is not ham-fisted enough that, if you're not paying close attention, you get sort of like immersed in their telling of the story, where you're like, oh, well, this is just a couple of bad beats. Like, how would they know? But no, they're fuck ups from jump, and it just continues from there. So they're sitting outside like a convenience store, and the drug dealer guy, Moon Man, who is their target, leaves the convenience store and gets in a vehicle with his enormous bouncer. Not enormous as tall. This is just a big boy. You know what I mean? And they do have a great scene of him getting in the driver's seat of the vehicle and the entire body of the car shifting down by about 3 inches.
Yeah, he has to kind of shimmy in there a little bit.
Yeah.
His body type is sort of like like Rick Rossian.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
So Moon Man and the bouncer drive away, and they're having, I didn't write down any of the specific lines from it, but they're having a relatively funny conversation about Moon Man's current girlfriend or something like that.
Yeah.
And I remember it being funny, but like I said, I didn't write down any specific lines from it.
Well, he's complaining about her body type and how she has put on weight and how she used to have a fat ass, but now it's like the fat ass went everywhere, is I believe the wording he used.
Yeah, he was saying it was shapely before, but now it's I think he uses a term like shopping bag or something like that.
It might have been. It's a couple of throwaway lines in general, but it's a funny scene in between, them leaving the convenience store and the crew
It's a real
pulling them
dude's
over.
rule moment.
Yeah.
So they get pulled over, and Diesel goes up to the window and requests their documentation. I will give the crew of dipshits a little bit of credit here. Diesel does a pretty good impression of a cop, even using some like lingo when he takes the license and registration and hands it to Troy to go check it in the non-existent computer in their vehicle. And they pull out Moon Man and cuff him and put him in the back of their car, their fake police car, and drive off. Moon Man realizes they're fake cops pretty quickly because he's like, what the fuck is this? There's no cage in the back seat or anything like that. And one of the cops is just sitting back there with him. Also, there's 3 cops in one car. It's the Always Sunny joke, you know?
Yeah.
Troy pulls a gun on him almost immediately and tells them they're going to take him to his stash house and he's going to get them inside. They arrive at the stash house and the crew comes out of the car all wielding weapons. They're locked and loaded. They march Moon Man up to the door, and after some consternation, the guy inside the trap house lets them in. So this scene reminded me of sort of like the slightly more slapstick version of that scene in the first season of True Detective, where they do the same bit essentially. Outside the house, the neighborhood is getting a bit rowdy and riled up. Mad Dog, of all people, is sent outside to do crowd control as Diesel and Troy work over Moon Man for the location of the stash. They find the coke, but somebody from outside shoots into the house before they can find any money. So they take the coke and flee back to the car. So, you know, if there was any money in the house, they did not get that. However, this is apparently good enough as far as the job is concerned, because the next scene we get is the crew back at a teeny hotel room. It's like a shitty hotel, and they're celebrating a successful job. Bundles of cash are handed out, and there is an absolute insane scene of them doing drugs and acting absurd. They're like spraying each other with like ketchup bottles and shit.
Yeah, they were spraying with ketchup bottles, taking just tons and tons of gas station dick pills, which of course is our sponsor for today. Gas station dick pills, as always. Thank you, Sunoco.
Feel the rhino.
Feel.
Go to Applebee's.
Oh my god. For anybody who has not seen this shirt, like, I'll post it on our socials because this shirt is fucking bonkers.
Yeah, actually, I'll post it on our Twitter right now.
There we go.
Let me just make sure. Yeah, there's no identifying information on here to lead directly back to you, Rich. Let's just pop this.
Yeah, Facebook knows what I want because I'm buying that shirt and I'm going to Applebee's.
You can get yourself some mozzarella sticks.
Some mozzarella sticks and some boneless wings. They're on there too.
They are the boneless wings too. I did see those. They had the big boy chicky nugs.
Yeah. So I think I'm going to skip the dick pills. I think I'm going to let everyone assume that I'm just rock hard under there.
Are you going to have some royal honey instead?
No, God, no. I feel like I'd rather take dick pills rather than royal honey. But maybe I'll have a flaming hot Mountain Dew.
Don't do that. That's the worst thing out of that picture for your body.
I don't know what the current obsession is with weird, gross sodas, but it seems to be a growing trend. And the big brands are getting in on it too, which is even more disturbing, in my opinion.
Well, see, now I'm not sure if it's there's some things where I'm not sure if it is a trend or if things are just being catered to me so heavily. Like, it feels like everywhere I turn right now are dick pills everywhere.
Yeah, and no, that I can attest to as well. The algorithms, like, just passively recording what we say and turning it into ads is definitely working overtime, because I have seen more dick pills advertised to me than I've seen in any convenience store that I've gone to. So absolutely working overtime. This weird dystopian advertisement based society. So actually, I think this is a perfect time to
this was always the point. This was always an ad transition.
Yeah, listen to some ads, hopefully about dick pills. I don't know if they're in the podcast advertising market, but they should be. I'm gonna write a couple of emails after this recording session. See if we
Yeah,
can't get some sponsors.
we really need to get some sponsorship from like Rhino 69.
All right, here's the ads.
You know, there's some days where we record this and I'm just like, I should go to church.
See,
You gotta get right with God.
I never think that while we're recording, but every time I'm driving and I see like a Catholic or some vaguely Christian, but specifically catering to like a local community, like the Korean Catholic church down the street from me, I'm like, I kind of want to go in and just sit through a sermon. I just want to see what it's like, but I have not as of yet, and I don't think I ever will.
I gotta hit up that Unitarian church that's out near you. I won't give away too many specifics.
Yeah. Also, I want to check out. I'm not even sure if it's a church. I've seen a bunch of cars with this like Fusion Christ Church something or the other on it.
That's like a weird Baptist. I don't know if it's weird. Because like, all right, so my partner's like Baptist, not practicing, but like every now and then, if I talk shit on Baptist, sometimes it's fine, but sometimes it's like, hey, don't do that.
I'll talk shit on Baptist.
I talk shit on Baptists all the time. I'm still going to do it. It just ends poorly for me sometimes.
But yeah, I just, ever since I first saw the stickers, I'm very curious if it's just like non-denominational Christians that were like really into Dragon Ball Z or something like that. I don't know what the fusion part of the church is. I've only ever seen that term used in Dragon Ball or for restaurants that have like French and Asian cuisine or something like that.
No, so what it is, because I actually think I have the answer, is it is it's a mega church, but we live in southern New Jersey that has a population of like 50,000 people. So really, how mega can it be? So it's like a mega church that only caters to like 200 people.
Oh, so it's just a broke ass mega church. It's
Yeah.
Kmart Joel Osteen.
It might be Aldi Joel Osteen. Like it's real knockoff.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, there you go. Mystery solved. My curiosity is no longer piqued. So after the like nonsense in the hotel room, the crew goes to a casino to continue celebrating. Diesel ends up at one of the bars on the casino floor and is talking up a lady. He's complaining that he's not allowed to have his whiskey neat, and that they insist that you put ice in your drinks. And so he's not really happy about this. And she is sort of being like playful. She explains why casinos do that, to water down the drink so people don't get blackout drunk too quickly. And
so
anyway,
real quick before we continue this scene, this is why I thought that she was a sex worker, because in the scene before this, Troy, Nic Cage's character, makes mention that he is going to get all of them sex workers for the night. And with Nic Cage and Willem Dafoe, like, it's obvious. And yes. I had thought that, he maybe went a little bit, like he wanted more company than anything. Yeah, Diesel, that Diesel wanted more company.
Yeah, no, but Diesel just struck up a conversation with this woman. So essentially what we learn is Diesel's the only one that has any game in this crew, and it's only to a certain extent. Although Mad Dog and Sheila, I mean, maybe Mad Dog has a little game before he goes full on murder psycho.
But he must eat the booty real well.
Yeah, maybe.
Right after those spare ribs.
I feel like eating the booty's got to be before the spare ribs. I feel like that's the order of operation there.
Now I've got the Obama thing stuck in my head. Like, gotta have them ribs.
Gotta have them
pussy
ribs.
too. So regardless, Diesel and this young lady decide to leave the bar together, and then we cut to Troy, who's in a hotel room asking a woman if she's ever been to Nice, and she is not really paying attention to him. So Troy is basically talking about this vacation that he wants to go on, and this sex worker is just trying to get her job done here. She does correctly notice that Nic Cage is a cutie patootie, quote. And then another absolutely hilarious scene. She tries to upsell him on a blowjob. And she says she knows how to do it right, and then takes his hand and goes to suck on his fingers and immediately gags. It is fucking hilarious.
And then oh my God, this whole scene was great because he then turns into, pardon the phrase, Captain Save-A-Ho.
Haven't heard that particular one before, but
oh, you've never heard Captain Save-A-Ho? Like
No.
Drake, like that's what Drake is. Like Drake just sees a stripper and is like, I can save her.
No,
But then
I
goes
thought
on.
T-Pain was the one who falls in love with strippers, and Drake is the one who grooms young women.
That is correct.
Yeah, I thought so.
Okay, I thought that Drake also, not only grooms young women, but also tries to save strippers constantly.
I could see
T-Pain.
it.
T-Pain fell in love with a stripper.
That doesn't mean he's trying to save her, though.
Yeah, he just fell in love with the stripper.
Acknowledges that that's her artistic output.
And
Maybe.
in my like headcanon, T-Pain has never done anything wrong.
That is correct.
I also agree with that.
T-Pain has never done anything wrong. He has all of the same political ideals that I do, and I will not be convinced otherwise.
And will not look into this any further. Please don't tweet at us about it.
No.
The musical is one of my favorite
not.
pieces of animation that's come out in years. So,
T-Pain winning Masked Singer season 1 was a high point in my life.
Okay, we clearly stand T-Pain on this podcast. I was not aware that we were all on the same page on that one, but all right, that's cool.
Oh, he fucked a mermaid that one time. It was great.
He did fuck a mermaid. He also fucked his aunt. Can't believe that I fucked my aunt. Damn, I fucked my aunt.
Okay, so Troy is trying to take this prostitute on a vacation. Rich, you were in the middle of expanding on this, or was that it? You were just doing the
it was very funny because he's like, I want to take you to Nice, and she's just like, yeah, that sounds nice, but also I'll suck your dick for $300, which is very like he's trying to play the long game, and she's just like, no, that sounds nice, but like, show me you have a commitment by giving me $300 right now.
And it's funny good. As she tries to upsell the blowjob again after gagging on his fingers, he starts talking to her about like tourmaline. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that right.
Black tourmaline.
Yeah.
Because it's like a bracelet or something he's talking about, right?
Yeah, that he apparently does ultimately get her, but we find that out later. So we cut to Mad Dog getting an aggressive hand job from an Asian woman, and it's not going well. She's like, finish already. Come on. But Mad Dog has had one too many gas station dick pills, I guess, and is definitely not a closer in this scenario. So the lady.
This cracks me up because it's clear that like his sex worker is just a massage therapist.
Also very apparent.
Like she's wearing scrubs.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I like, he wanted no nonsense. He wanted like, I'm here. This is what we're doing. And then you're leaving.
But she pulls out her phone with her free hand, and this pisses Mad Dog off, and he chases her out of the room with threats of violence. So nobody really wins in this particular scenario. But then we cut to Diesel, and the woman he was speaking to at the bar in his room. And there is an interesting, I honestly think this is probably the best look we get at Diesel in general and his frame of mind, and also some general character elements about him. He does show off a relatively impressive bit of anecdotal knowledge, sort of a Jeopardy fact about how much water it takes to grow an almond. And then the lady's sort of asking him about himself. What music do you like? He's like, I don't like music. I don't have friends. I don't do stuff. Why are you asking me this many questions? I was in jail. That's why I don't know this stuff. You know that. And she's like, I had no fucking idea about that. What are you talking about? And Diesel's like, well, when we were down at the bar and you told me I should throw my ice cubes at the bartender, I said it would be a bad idea for me to do that because I was in jail. And she's like, yeah, no, that's not what I got from this. And I think I'm going to go because, Diesel's getting aggressive at this point. So he has effectively scared her off, but he stops her in the hallway to apologize and say, he doesn't mean to get this way. That wasn't his intention. And she's like, that's fine and all. I don't feel safe. I'm leaving. So very clear-headed individual, this young woman. And Diesel also does not have a very satisfying evening either.
I was expecting that to go way south, and it didn't. And respect on Diesel.
To a certain extent. I thought I like I said, I think it's the most in-depth look you get at his character in general. He's just a maladjusted, formerly institutionalized individual. And the transition is jarring for him. It's jarring for all of them, I guess, but with Diesel, I thought this was a pretty interesting look at his character overall. So, but also, again, everything I just described, I'm fairly certain the woman at the bar was not a sex worker whatsoever. And so Troy got out of having to shell out for that particular member of the crew.
Yeah, no, I see. I kind of read it as like she was. Now, I mean, clearly I could be wrong and probably am. I kind of read it as she was like the next level up. She wasn't somebody you meet in a motel room. She's somebody who's going to give you kind of the experience of having a companion for a few hours.
Conversation and companionship. Now, actually, like I said, the way the entire conversation went down seemed like a casino hookup where this lady does want to know a little bit more about the individual whose room she's in. Basically, it was very, very surface level questions in general, and it just sort of set Diesel off.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no, I think that's actually probably a good place to cut the first half of the rundown of this film, in my opinion. We got some interesting shit on the back half of this film, which will be fun to go over. In the meantime, while you're waiting for that to drop, you can, of course, follow us on social media. You can find us on Twitter at cagefight_pod. Go ahead and check out that sweet, sweet shirt I posted a picture of. Real Cage Heads, or rather, Real Cage Fight Podcast Heads. This is our uniform from here on out, folks. So grab them before they stop making them. They printed literally 25 of them. There's no way they printed more than that.
We're gonna be rocking those like fucking cult members, like those New Balance shoes.
The pants that Nic Cage wore to the Renfield premiere.
Oh yeah, that's a fit right there, baby.
Yeah, tiger stripe pants and the shirt that we posted, and yeah, the aftermath is just on all of our tombstones. Took too many dick pills, died. Live fast, die hard. You know what I'm saying? Different context here, but we're very serious about it.
Patreon.com/Nic Cage Fight. I guess dick pill recommendations are going to be coming up soon on that. But also all these episodes with no ads, as well as bonus episodes, as well as I was going to ask you guys, because we have Renfield coming out in 2.5 weeks, I believe.
Something like that. It's like April 14th, I think.
What if we just saw it that weekend and immediately did like a podcast of it?
I'm down.
Yeah, I'm honestly fine with that. It's going to be hard to take my notes in a dark movie theater, but I'll do my best.
You got to get you one of those pens with the little light on the end of it.
Yeah, that won't piss anybody off.
See, we can go again. I don't want to like dox us. We can go to that small movie theater in the shore town that you guys know what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's big enough.
Yeah. And like those only have like 12 seats. Let's see if we can just buy every seat.
Yeah, that might be doable. That might be very doable. I'm gonna bring a little reading lamp and take my notes.
And that way we can talk over the film. No one's gonna care. We'll bring like a little party.
I'm down with that.
Have a little Renfield party.
Load up the flasks. Have a good time.
Yeah. There's that. You don't need to load up a flask because there's a bar right attached to that motherfucker.
Oh yeah, that's my kind of movie.
Sold. In other news, also there was a World Wrestling Entertainment Hall of Famer indicted today. Oh wait, same guy because we live in hell.
All right, that's gonna do it for this episode of the Nic Cage Fight Podcast. Thank you for tuning in, and as always, listeners, we appreciate you.